Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Matt Lateplo, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Amarc Resources. Please note, you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Dr. Diane Nicholson, President and CEO of Amarc Resources Limited, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol AXREF and on the TSXV under the symbol AHR. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Matt, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be with you today, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for your time. As Matt has just said, I'm Dr. Diane Nicholson. I'm President and CEO of Amarc Resources. This is the usual cautionary and forward-looking statement for your information. To introduce you to Amarc, we are a junior exploration and development company, and we're solely focused on developing a new generation of high-value copper mines in British Columbia, which many of you may know is the heartland for copper production in Canada. The team here at Amarc has acquired, assembled, and developed a pretty unique portfolio of highly prospective porphyry copper plus-minus gold districts in British Columbia. These districts are known as the Joy, Duke, and Ike. These districts are characterized by being 100% owned by Amarc. They are very extensive in their extent, and all are located proximal to infrastructure. And there is nothing value destructive attached to any of these districts in terms of royalties. Now, very importantly, each one of these districts is centered or anchored on one or more known deposits and is also characterized by a pipeline of deposits coming along behind deposit targets, coming along behind these known deposits that are drill ready. And we've actually already started to make porphyry copper gold discoveries on these pipelines of targets. What this does for the shareholder and this structure within Amarc is it provides a great deal of optionality for the shareholder, both at the corporate and district level, and also for our potential transaction partners. All these districts were strategically assembled with potential multiple transactions very much at the forefront of mind. We really like porphyry copper golds in Amarc. And one of the reasons is they are highly sought after by not only the copper producers, but by the gold producers. And pointing case for that, in British Columbia, the last major transaction was in 2021 in the province, in the north of the province, where Newmont acquired GT Gold for the Tatoga porphyry copper gold deposit. Moving on to the next slide here, Amarc has actually brought in Freeport-McMoRan Properties Canada Inc. On our Joy District. This is a wholly owned subsidiary of Freeport-McMoRan, the foremost copper producer globally, and Boliden Mineral Canada Limited, a subsidiary of the Boliden Group out of Sweden. They are one of Europe's premier integrated exploration, mining, and smelting houses at Duke. On each of those projects, those companies can earn up to a 70% interest in the district by stage investments of $110 million and $90 million respectively. Now, what this actually gives the company is access potentially to up to $200 million of non-share dilutive funding. Also important on this is that the team is actually, Amarc's team is acting as operator on both of these districts. This is, a nod not only to the technical capabilities of Amarc, but also across the spectrum of requirements that we have to go through to develop a deposit in this day and age. So we brought Freeport in at Joy in May 2021. Over the first two seasons, Freeport, under an accelerated time frame, funded $20 million approximately of exploration activities. With those dollars, we completed just shy of 20,000 meters of drilling and 46 drill holes, and also extensive district-wide surface and airborne studies. What all these works have done is really brought forward the high potential for multiple deposits in a very significant copper gold district. We've been back out on the ground this summer with our partners, Freeport, and everything we have done this summer has been focused on the further delineation of drill sites for an intended very significant drill program in 2024. Those activities have included, for example, upgrading drill road accesses, repairing bridges, so we can maximize the efficiency of our exploration dollars in 2024 for this intended drill program. There's going to be a lot of news flow coming out of Joy as we move forward. At Duke, we brought Boliden in late last year, right at the end of November. Within a week, we were out drilling on the Duke deposit, over 90 days of drilling with up to 3 drill rigs. We completed just over 11,000 meters of drilling in 24 drill holes. This was all focused on delineating or starting to delineate the Duke deposit, which is the anchor deposit within the Duke district. We pulled off that drilling in early April. We were back on the ground in mid-May, and we have been working very hard with our partners, Boliden, completing a series of district-wide surface and airborne programs. Many square kilometers, hundreds of square kilometers of airborne surveys, over 100 line kilometers of ground geophysics, lots of geochemistry. This is all coming in. All this data is coming into the team at the moment. And all of this work is designed to prioritize targets in addition to the Duke deposit for drill testing in 2024. So there's a lot of news flow also coming out of Duke. One thing that's very important about the Duke district is we can drill out there year-round. So in the future and going forwards, there is going to be year-round drill news coming out of the Duke district. Also, we have our Ike district. We have made a very good porphyry copper moly silver discovery there. But what we're focused on and what we are in the throes of organizing is we're following certain mechanisms in order to self-fund activities at the Ike district ourselves next year. And those activities will be actually focused on the higher grade Empress copper gold deposit, which we'll come to in the presentation. So the intrinsic value of our portfolio of assets resides first and foremost in their geological attributes, but also resides in the strength of the team. The team shown here for Amarc is actually backed by the Hunter Dickinson Inc. team through our association with that company. HDI has been responsible for discovering, developing, and successfully transacting numerous copper and gold plays, both in BC and globally, as far afield as Tibet. But where we're focused in BC, this was the birthplace of Hunter Dickinson. This is where the company grew and developed. This is a jurisdiction we understand very well. To just point out a few of our successes in the past with the Hunter Dickinson team, the team developed the Milligan deposit, which was sold to Placer for $250 million back in the day. It's now in production with Centerra Gold. The Kemess South Mine, part of the Kemess Mining District, which is adjacent to our Joy District. We developed the Kemess South deposit. It was sold on and eventually went into production and was mined out with Northgate. It still remains the third largest gold producer to this time in the province. My executive chair, Bob Dickinson, he was the founder of Taseko, which became Taseko Mines. Their flagship property or operation is the Gibraltar mine here in British Columbia. It's an 85,000 ton per day operation, and it is the second largest copper producer in Canada and the fourth largest in North America, and so on. But what we're showing here is the Amarc team, my executive chair, Bob Dickinson, and senior technical advisor, Mark Grabagliati. They've both been inducted into the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame in recognition of their discovery, development, and transaction successes, particularly in the copper space. Charlie Gregg at the bottom of the screen, he was led the team, the exploration team that discovered the Tatoga deposit that I just mentioned was sold to Newmont. Dr. Roy Gregg has recently joined us as he finished his porphyry copper doctorate in the University of Arizona. He's bringing lots of fresh ideas into the team. Myself, I've been in porphyry exploration all of my career, primarily in the Americas. I was lucky enough to get the bug very early on in my career. The first team I joined and was on a drill rig on, we discovered a mine in South America that went into production. So what we have is a very accomplished porphyry copper team backed by Hunter Dickinson, which brings a broad range of experiences that you need to develop a deposit these days, from financial to engineering, etc. And we're operating in the province of British Columbia, which is seeing a lot of attention from the producers today, Freeport, Boliden, Newmont, etc., Newcrest, etc. And why is this? This is because in the province, we have political stability, we have a good skilled workforce, particularly where our districts are located. We have access to good infrastructure, and we have things like very competitively priced clean power, access to clean power. So BC is a very good place to be. So that's the first part of my talk. I'm now going to go on to explain each of the districts in turn. There is not going to be very much time for questions, if any, at the end. There is a lot of excitement going on in this company. So I invite you to put all your questions with your contact details in the chat box, and I will get back to you, each one of you personally. But we're going to start at in the Joy district. This is located in the southern part of northern British Columbia. You can see going into the Joy area, which is marked by the red star in the center of your screen. You've got those pink and black lines. Those are showing that we've got power and good access going right into the Joy district. But what I really want to bring your attention to on your slide is shown by this very schematic blue arrow. On the top left-hand corner of the slide, this is an area of BC called the Golden Triangle, which many of you might have heard of. It hosts some world-class deposits such as Red Chris, which is formerly owned and operated by Newcrest, which have been taken over by Newmont, and also the very substantial world-class Galore deposit. This is 500 million tons in reserves at 0.6% copper, 0.32, 0.34 grams per ton gold. Now, why am I mentioning this? It's because these big deposits are hosted in 200-million-year-old rocks, which are not just confined to the top left-hand corner of this slide. They actually arch around the province, as shown by the schematic blue arrow, and come down through the Joy district. So we have the right rocks. Going on to the next slide, this is what the topography looks like at Joy. It's interspersed, broad, flat, undulating areas. This one is 5-6 kilometers across, flanked by moderate topography. In the middle of this slide, I draw your attention to the circle labeled Pine in red. This is where the Pine deposit is within a 6 square kilometer target. This was the historical deposit, and this is the deposit on which the Joy district is anchored. The other target labeled in red, Canyon, this is where we made our porphyry copper gold discovery with our partners Freeport last year. The other labeled targets are some of our pipeline of drill-ready deposit targets we'll be working on next year. So going on to the next slide, the blue outline is our tenure. There is a tried and true method globally for exploration of porphyry coppers. This is called induced polarization, or IP, ground geophysical surveys. The component which is represented here is chargeability. What you need to know is all those hot colored blobs in the pink and the red, these represent sulfide systems. A lot of juniors may only have 1 or 2 of these in their portfolio. In each of our districts, we have a number, we have developing trends. Because of time, I'm only going to touch lightly on one of the developing trends, but this is one of the reasons we have Freeport in as our partners. We have a trend called the Pine Trend. It's 15 kilometers long. It passes from the Pine deposit and its target down through Canyon, Twins to Southwest Takla. Where we're going to go first, this is a cross-section through the historical pine deposit. When we assembled this district, we knew there was an historical deposit here to reasonably shallow depths. It was over 6 by 900 meters with good copper gold grades for British Columbia. We have put 14 drill holes in with our partners, Freeport. We have expanded it internally. We've expanded it to depth. And we've taken that lateral extent from 900 meters to 1.7 kilometers with more room to expand it over 2.6 kilometers. We quote all of our intercepts here for ease in this presentation in terms of copper equivalent, but please note at the bottom right-hand side of the slide, we do not calculate our copper equivalents based on 100% recoveries, but on realistic recoveries based on those of producing porphyry and advanced stage porphyry deposits or projects in the province of British Columbia. We will be out here working again and drilling with our partners Freeport in 2024. So this is now a vertical section through the near surface of the pine trend. So those hot colors you saw, those sulfide systems on the plan map that were in reds and pinks are now represented by these lighter and slightly more subdued pink colors. We can see this trend is over 15 kilometers long. At the northeast end, we have the pine deposit, which is still open to expansion. We come down through that trend to Canyon. Now, this is really interesting. In 2021, we put a few widely spaced short holes in here with our partners Freeport. We hit copper and gold and various indications that get geologists, that get exploration geologists like myself excited. We went back in last year with Freeport, we drilled deeper holes, and we made a really exciting copper gold porphyry discovery. Coming down the belt to the Twins target, this is a big target area. It's 8 to 9 square kilometers. Again, we put in a number of short holes with Freeport. Again, they're coming up with those early stage indications that got us so excited at Canyon. We've been out there working on all of these targets this year, and we will be out there again, drilling hopefully next year at Twins, putting down longer drill holes. And we firmly believe the Twins has the potential for a discovery like Canyon. SWT brings up the southwest end of the trend. Why do we like these trends? This is a figure taken from a PDAC presentation by Newcrest, and it shows, who have now been taken over by Newmont, of course. It shows the trends that they developed at their Cadia porphyry copper gold play or district in Australia, and also at Red Chris in northern BC. And you can see this is what we're looking to develop. It's early stages at Joy, but you can see that these porphyries, they occur along trends. They occur in clusters. And for me as an exploration geologist looking at this, what it shows you is the commitment you have to have in order to discover these deposits and drill them off. Just look at the density of drilling. So we're now going to move on to the Duke district. This is where we have Boliden as partners. This is located in central British Columbia. It is located about 80 kilometers to the northeast of the mining town of Smithers, shown in the bottom left-hand corner of your slide. This is located within what's known as the Babine Porphyry Copper Gold District in British Columbia. It is one of the most prolific copper gold belts in the province. It's anchored on, in terms of a region, into the Bell and Grand Isle past producers. They were in operation until the mid-90s with Noranda. We're also shown on this slide with the red star the location of our Duke deposit in the center of our tenure, and this is the deposit on which the Duke district is anchored. This slide shows the typical tenure, which is quite different to Joy. The landscape here, it is flat to gently undulating. It is a big forestry area. You can see all the forestry trails and roads marked on here and the clear cuts. very good access year-round on this many areas of this property, very extensive property. But what we're showing here is the area of the Duke deposit target in this red line. Now, this is a 4.7 square kilometer target area. That red line indicates our sulfide system, again, as outlined by IP ground geophysics. Where we have done the majority of the drilling with Boliden to date is on the deposit, which is located within this target area and along that cross-section A prime, which we will be looking at. This just shows the IP in all of its glorious color, the IP anomaly that we're exploring at Duke. And it shows in the blue dots where we have drilled with our partners Boliden. Again, where we've done most of the drilling is in the main deposit area. And we're going to have a look at the cross-section next from A to A prime. This is a cross-section through the Duke deposit as it is currently known today, but as I say, room to expand it through the greater anomaly. Some of the holes we put in, first of all, with our partners Boliden in December of 2022 into 2023 are these long vertical holes. They're 550 meters long or deeper. They're more or less continuous mineralization, copper in red, moly in blue, and they are about, on average, a 0.35% copper equivalent from top to bottom of drill hole. In this type of area in British Columbia, with good infrastructure, these grades are very attractive. So this slide just shows you from the air what the area looks like. We have on the left showing all the infrastructure and cut blocks. On the right, we've been staying at forestry camps, big commercial camps. And what this has enabled us to do is maximize our exploration dollars and expand our programs courtesy of all the infrastructure that is in the area. So this slide actually shows you in the center with that red star, the Duke deposit that we have been talking about, but also shows you in the black outline the full extent of our almost 700 square kilometers of tenure. The tenure is aligned northeast and almost 90 kilometers in length. It's very extensive. I haven't got time to go into this today, but what the team did with Amarc was assemble all the publicly available data from the government and, primarily from the government. We analyzed it, we reprocessed it, we put it back together. And what we came up with was a series of approximately 16 targets other than the Duke deposit targets, which are shown on the location of which are shown on this map. And these are the targets where the team has been out this year doing those very extensive airborne and ground surveys, assessing all of those target areas systematically. And on the prioritized ones of those targets, we will be out there drilling in 2024, starting as early as possible, because as I said, we can drill in this district year-round. There's going to be lots of news flow coming out of the Duke district, as with the Joy district. So in the remaining minutes, I just want to introduce you to the Ike district. This is the district where Amarc are proposing that we self-fund and operate this project ourselves. It is located in southern British Columbia. It's actually just on the margins of the heartland of copper production, not only in BC, but for Canada, with big mines like Valley of Teck, New Afton, Gibraltar, all being, proximally located. The Ike district is centered on the Empress and the Ike deposits, the copper deposits. You can see them located on the left-hand side of the screen. One of the things I want to draw to your attention on this slide is how well serviced this district is by infrastructure. There is good access to major highways and rail links going right down to the port of Vancouver. And you can see a pink line working its way west towards the Ike and Empress deposits. That is part of BC Hydro's infrastructure in the province. That scheme actually produces about 6% of the output from BC Hydro, who have recently invested a fair few dollars in upgrading infrastructure. And that scheme lies about, or is located approximately 20 to 30 kilometers away from our Ike District tenure boundary. This is what the landscape looks like in the Ike District. We're on the eastern edge of what we call the Coast Range. You can see the interior plateau just there in the upper part of the figure. In the foreground, you can see our big Ike porphyry copper silver moly discovery as outlined by those yellow and red lines. We're going to mention that briefly, but where we're going to concentrate is on the Empress and the Empress East deposits indicated by those red stars, which are the higher grade copper gold deposits. Just briefly on Ike, we have put 26 long drill holes, 800-meter deep drill holes into this deposit, which we discovered. It is now known to have very good quality mineralization, over 1,000 meters by 1,200 meters by at least 800 meters in vertical extent, and it's open in several directions. What we want to do here is go in and further drill, get it into a resource category, do a PEA, but where we want to start first is at the Empress, which I'll come to shortly. I included this slide to remind me, just to say to you, all these deposits we're talking about over all three districts, the mineralization comes in at surface. This is a view over our Ike porphyry copper moly discovery. You can see hole 13 on the left side. This was one of our best holes, 600 meters at 0.43% copper equivalent. That came in from surface. So moving on to the Empress East historical deposits, we're very excited to get out there on the ground next year and work in this area. You can see the Ike deposit located in the bottom part of your screen. As we move northwards to that blue line that's indicated, all the drill targets become progressively more gold enriched until we get to the Empress and the Empress East, and they are significantly higher grade copper gold deposits. What that blue line represents is to the south of it, we have the Coastal Plutonic Complex, CPC for short, that's intruded into an older volcanic pile which lies to the north of that blue line. Why are we interested in the Empress deposit and the Empress East deposit? All of the drilling that has taken place here precedes Amarc. It is historical drilling, and you can see this is why we're interested. There are intercepts in the historical drilling of around 76 meters at 1% copper, 1.5 grams per gold, several grams of silver with moly. And what this translates into at our recoveries are copper equivalents of 1 to 3%. This is where we want to be out working next year. This is just a cross section through the Empress East area. You can see the Empress main deposit. We know there is room to expand that laterally and internally. 1 kilometer away, we have the Empress East, under-drilled, same story. We can expand that deposit. That's a good story in itself. But the short drilling, some of it's only 30, 40 meters deep, and one deep drill hole in the Empress Gap area, this 1 kilometer gap between these two great historical deposits, they've hit copper and gold. And what they're telling us to do is go out and drill there, because those two deposits, the Empress and the Empress East, could coalesce. So you could have very good higher grade copper gold mineralization over 2 kilometers, but that's not the end of the story. That blue line and that potential extends for another over a 15 kilometer area where our and historical survey work is indicating that there is more to come. There's more higher grade copper gold potential. So just to summarize in the minute or so I've got left, we have a great team. It's an accomplished team. We have discovered, developed, and successfully transacted many copper and gold deposits globally. We're in a good jurisdiction. It's attracting a lot of attention from the producers. We have a pretty much unique portfolio of copper deposits. We have access to up to $200 million of non-share dilutive financing well underway with Freeport at Joy and Boliden at Duke. There are numerous catalysts coming. There's a lot of news flow coming out, and management is really planning to pivot Amarc's growth rate here by self-funding the development of our very exciting higher grade copper gold Empress deposit within the Ike district. So we're heading into a very big drill year in 2024. We hope to be out drilling on all three projects. There's going to be a lot of catalysts, a lot of news flow. I thank you very much for your time and attention today. There's a lot going on in this company. It was very difficult to get through everything in time for questions. So any questions, please put them in the chat. I will respond to them. And I am happy to have follow-up meetings with you one-on-one during the course of the conference. Or if that is not possible, please feel free after the conference to contact me, and I will make sure I will be available to speak to each and every one of you. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, again for your time and attention today. As you can tell, we're very excited at Amarc, and a final thank you to the conference organizers at the OTC Markets who